So 3 tickers running in the morning that I traded. I made like $2.59 59 cents on Gene. Lost like 187 on AVGR and lost 237 on CTRM. Those are my profits and losses today. My loss was bigger than my profits today. So let's look at Gene. So I traded Gene's pre-market at around like 6 o'clock to 7. It was it got me up from previous high at D40 like 350, previous high at 350 or 345, yeah, 345 to 350. It was gapping to a high of 474 on news. The news was that Jeans have announces U.S. sales commence via online health platform. So it's about the breast cancer's assessment um, that they put online. So that is like good news, and the market has a positive reaction to it. So price action wise, it's gapping up. So the high was 274, right? And it dipped down to like 216, 215, 216, and it came back up. Barely any volumes being traded here to a lower high of 4 460 467. Yeah, I say 2, sorry about that. It's 416, 415. So to a lower high like 467, 468. And when I saw it, it was already coming back down, right? It was already coming back down like on the 1 minute chart. You can see the greens and the red going down straight down to like to the $4 area. So that is like a 15% dip. And if we look at the 5 minute chart, yeah, if we look at the 5 minute chart, it's basically a bunch of red candles, straight without any green candles. That show me that it's gonna bounce. It's has like a high probability of bouncing, right? And I waited for the bounce. So it bounced off of $4. I waited to and enter at 411 when trying to see like whether the trend is gonna break or not. And the trend did break. Did break. It went down, 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 and then it's coming back up. And I entered at 411, risking like $4. So risking 10 cents on my positions. I entered with 15 shares. As it dipped a bit further down to like 408, but it never reached $4. So and then it squeezed to the 420s, right? My goal was to sell like at least sell my shares at VWAP, the volume weighted average price. So around like 427 to 430. That was my goal over for this trade. It's like one or two risk reward ratios. It's not too good, but it's still better than 1 to 1. So as they go up, I sold. I started taking my profits when it made like 10 cents, a 10 cents move. So I took 3 cents off at 423 right here on this candle, and then I sold in yeah, I sold 3 shares each at 20 at 426, 427. So basically at the top here before it actually came dipping. My mistakes was adding at this area. My mistakes was adding on this candle. My mistake was adding on this candle. I had like 6 shares left on my position, and I decided to add three. these shares at 421, right? What I should have done is waited for a confirmed uh, bounce. Waited for a confirmed bounce. Instead, I add 421. It dipped further down. I move my risk up. So when I added, I moved my risk up to like 410. My average was 4 chain with 9 shares. So 410 was my average. 410 was my risk level at that point. It it, it went down. It went lower and lower and lower to like the 4 chain, 4 chain. So my risk was like around here. When yeah, my risk was right here. It was around here. The thing was, I was also looking at the 2 minute chart. And when I was looking at the 2 minute chart, it showed that the low was 413, and that was where I moved my risk up to 413 instead of just leaving it be. Right? I moved my risk up to 413, and then it hit 414, 414, 412 area. So 412. So it hit 414, 412 area, and I was chopped out. I cut my losses at 414. I should just leave it be at 410 because it never actually reached 410. It reached 412 and then it bounced up and going higher. So it made a lower high. It made a higher low. The previous low was at $4. This low was at 412. This was where I should have added instead of over here. Instead of 421. This area and the 410s was where I should have added. Because there are supports, uh, because there's support, it's also a support area too. The support line is I drew. It was also a support area too from like previous price actions. It was around this area. And then I waited and waited and saw that was coming back to the volume weighted average. And I entered. I entered with fetching shares at 428 with risk at 420. So my risk was at 420, like right here. Was having difficulties trying to break out like in like 2 minutes. And it went higher. So I decided to take my profits at 435. I took 3 shares off. And I took 3 shares off of 4 439 and then another 2 shares off at 439 on the red candle here. It went lower, it opened higher, and it moved higher and higher. And so I took 1 shares off at 440. It actually went to like 445, but it was a very, very quick move. I wasn't able to catch that. So I sold 1 shares off of there. And then it it dipped lower and lower to like the 430 area. So my plan was to wait for it to go green and see how the level 2 um, act, how people react to it. And I saw that there were like 237. Um, let's see, I saw 237 on the ask. So that is like a 23,000 on the ask. A lot of it was 200,000. It was like, let's see, Yeah, it was 23,000 on the ask. So that was a wall of ask, and it was gonna be harder if I want to get out. So I decided to wait a little bit. It dipped lower, and I sold shares 436, and I got out. It did go lower, so it went from 445 straight down to 420. And with a and my idea was to dip by those stocks that have dipped more than 10% with a constant red, and then dip by the confirmation with risk at the low. So this is like a 5% bounce, 5% dip. I don't want to get into it, so it 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 did go up, and then it double top at the 445 area. So it dipped from 445 to like 422, just to bounce back up to 445, double top, and throughout the day it has been going down ever since. Yeah, it has been going down ever since. And then my second trade was AVGR. It was a mover. At pre-market. Let's see what the catalyst was. Oh yeah, the catalyst was an FDA clearance. FDA clearance. So as a biotech company, that is big with FDA clearance. And previous, it was a former runner. Not too much of a big spiker, but it did have multi-day multi-day movements. Um, based on its history, it did have multi-day movements. So this stock, I've waited. I watched like from the open all the way down here to like 840. So it was coming back up from the low of 49, right? It was coming back up from the low of 49, trying to move higher. If it could break VWAP, it might be able to go to like 55 and once again test the higher day. So I entered if with 20 shares 50 at 52, right? And then it dipped. I averaged down at 51 because I was thinking that it was gonna hold 49. It was gonna hold this area. That was my risk. If it hit my risk, I was gonna get out. So the bad part was right after the dip, it flushed to the 48. It flushed at 40 to 0.48, and I didn't wanna. It already hit. It broke my risk level, so I decided to get out. Good thing I did that. I did get out because it did go lower. The thing about these flushes is that when it flush, even though it's coming back up, it's going to have a hard breaking um the previous support that become resistance. So 49 was the previous support, and now that it has broken down 49, it's gonna become a resistance. And in order for it to actually break out again, you actually have higher green volumes. So I got out of my 40 shares with at 0.486, and then it was consolidating at the 46 area. It was coming back up. I entered at 47 50 shares, and it did a small dip, but bigger volume than the greens. And I decided to just cut my losses because this was at like 26%. It's not gonna get a lot of people attentions at 26%. 26% gainer of the day. It's not gonna get a lot of people's attention. Is it 26%? It was around 20%. Yeah, it was around 20%. So it's not gonna get like a lot of traders' attention. They might not trade it, and it might not go higher. So I cut my losses as at 46 to 44.44 on my 50 shares. It's also because I was afraid that it's gonna halt. It's gonna halt going down, meaning that it's gonna go lower. I don't want that to happen to my trades. That's what happened yesterday. That's something that I did not want to happen again. So I get out of my trade here, and good thing too because it did break the 46 level and trade lower and lower to the like 41s to the 36. So it made a new low at 36 right now. It broke the previous day. So yeah. And then right after this trade, I look at VTRM. It was coming up like really high. And I look at the previous history. It was a former runner, way in the past, way in the past. It got some resistance at the 22 area, 30 30 area, and like the 40 area. So it got resistance there. Because I was looking at the resistance there, I was not paying attention that it was a parabolic move. It's already looking like a parabolic chart. It's already going very high extensions. When that happens, when it crashes, it's gonna crash really big. So it wasn't a good risk reward situations right now. And so instead of entering at the dip, I gave into fear of missing out. So I enter. I put my risk at like 0.18, 0.185, right? Around there. I entered with 100 shares at 19.6, so 0.196. My goal was for the stock to make a move to 0.22. So that was a good risk to reward. That was like a 1 to 3 ratios. The bad part was it was showing sign of weaknesses. It would be a good dip buy if I was dip buying close to in the A chain, very close to the A chain 40, A chain 50. It would be a good dip buy making 1 cent a share. That's like 5%, 5 to 10%. Yeah, and so I should have added down there when it wasn't breaking, or if not add, I should have cut my losses. Should have, yeah. So I decided to add on this green candle with 100 shares. So my position size was 200 shares with an average of like 0.1973. I should have gotten out right as this stock wasn't able to break the high of 1993. It went to 1985, it double top as well as making a lower high. So it is showing weaknesses. And just based on like on the parabolic move from the market from the morning, yeah, not it's already up this high even though it's only 26%. It's or it's the graph is already showing a parabolic move, and it's gonna dip. Not very good risk to reward though. Not it's very risky. It's a very risky trade. I held onto it for like let's see I held onto it like for like 20 minutes really, and it started to make higher low and low high. So this is showing another pattern. It's showing it's showing a triangular pennant. So when this happened, I don't know whether it's gonna break down or it's gonna break up. My hope was that it's gonna break up and then it's gonna squeeze. But I held to it. I should have just sold right like I should have just sold like right here when it was making this lower high. I should have just sold up there and it made my like yeah, cut my losses very quickly that way. Because if I cut my losses, there's always another trade that I could use the remaining money to actually trade it and save my resource, mental resource, and wealth and money resource, really, buying power. So the stock eventually made a fake out. It fake out right here. It fake out the pattern right there to like 96, and then directly went lower and lower and lower. Eventually, it break the pattern. Yep, it break the pattern, and I don't know what happened, but I think that was gonna be a fake out breakdown. I was rationalizing my losses. I should have done that. I should just cut when this happened. Because when the pattern has broken, all the people that all the long that have bought the stock like at my price or lower at the aging, they're already starting to lose interest. They just want to get out when the pattern broke instead of going higher, it's gonna go lower. So it later flushes and broke my risk level, and I got out. Should have just got out higher, but and cut my losses quicker. But yeah, it broke my risk, and I got out, and the trades have been trading, and it was having difficulty breaking out of 1848, 1850 afterward. So I got out 200 shares at 1836, and yeah, it was making constant bounces at like the 17 area just to come back to like 1850, but it's never break out there throughout the whole day, and right now it's the afternoon, so the volume's gonna be crappy in the afternoon, especially with this 6% gain right now. The volume's gonna be crappy since people are going for lunch, so barely any volumes being traded. We'll have to wait until like 2 o'clock to see how it happened, how how the price sessions are. But I lost like this is my biggest loss today. I rationalize as a losing trade instead of just getting out when the pattern broke. I rationalize it and a bigger loss than necessary. So I lost like $2.37 around there on this trade. And with all three tickers, I lost like $1.96 today. Smaller than yesterday, better than yesterday. And today, let's see. Yeah. And I don't really feel bad about these losses. Because it showed that I was able to like take my risk. After my risk level break, just get out. I just need better entry. And with better entry mean learning the pattern, learning the price sessions, more experience in this. Yeah, I just need better entry and need to learn how to take profits. Like like with my trade with Gene. I did take my profits, but each um I did take my profits, but the average overall for my profits is a 1-to-1 ratio on the risk to reward. Yeah, 1-to-1 ratio, risk to reward ratios. The average was 1-to-1, which wasn't very good. I wanted to have at least a minimum of 1-to-3 ratios because to actually hold all my shares from like 411, my initial shares, hold all the way to like the 440. That'd be like a $4 gain, and then if I were to add more, make more. But just take. But one thing is trading these stocks lower than that are not blue chips. They're very volatile. They could turn against you in minutes, in seconds even. So it's better to just take my profits and improve along the way. Like a 1%, 2% profits. Eventually, might just increase those 1%, 2% to like get if I get better, it might be like a 5% move, 10% profits. Yeah. So my mistakes is I over traded today. I should just stop trading after Gene. Just take my profits because after having a profits, it's all about defensive gain now. How much of the money you make can you keep? And to just show that I wasn't able to keep any of my money and I lost like a dollar extra, a $1, $2 extra. So after you make money, it's all about defensive gain. How much can you keep? And yeah, well, there's always tomorrow. There's always a Monday. So another day, I'll trade another day. Small losses, like like I said, or like many traders said, one trade doesn't make your account. One trade can break your account. So just keep my losses small and keep my gains small as I learn. Eventually, I'll learn to like size up more, bigger size, bigger gains, bigger losses. But just need to stop focus on the P&L and just trade the process. Yeah, and I should just focus on like buying a stock that went lower than that did more than 10% of the day, especially if that stock is a gapper. Like yeah, especially if that stock is a gapper because if it's a gapper, people will be watching it, and if it dip without news, like a very panic, like people are panicking, dipping, then the dip buyer is gonna come in. It's gonna and self fulfilling prophecy. It's gonna go higher and sell at resistance. Yeah, Wait for the a bounce confirmation from the dip. Enter, risk the low, and see how it is. And that'll be all for today.